Alright, this is a dramatic reading of the popular novel Time Z by Ethan Hampton. This will just be the first chapter for now. I may plan on doing more chapters in the near future. Story 1, Time Z, Chapter 1, The Beginning, written on November 17th, 2016 by Ethan Hampton. It's November 3rd, 2016, and I'm in math class on my senior year in high school, and my name is Ethan Hampton. I remember when school started all nice and warm. Summer just ended, and everyone is all depressed, but after a while of going to school and doing work, you forget time, so you throw it away for the time being. You usually grab the time back out of the trash when you have a week off for a holiday like Thanksgiving at the end of this month. The bell rang to end class for our 1 hour lunch, when the teacher was still teaching yous about calculus. All of the students, including the teacher, didn't realize the time, so everyone got up really fast and started packing their things. I packed up my things nice and calm because the hallways of the school during this time is crazy. I left my class to go meet my friends on the second floor, in one of the most secluded halls of the school. My friends and I sit there because we don't like to be disturbed by other groups of people and the things we talk about. People would think we are crazy or something. I found my friends and I sit down with them. But after about 30 minutes we had a locked down, and the speaker lady said, "We are going into lockdown mode, so go find the closest room possible. And this is only a drill. I repeat, it's only a drill." So we do. It lasted the rest of lunch, and at the end the speaker lady called it off. I reported back to class and finished the rest of my day at school. I got home and got on Xbox to talk with my friends about the rumors that occurred. We talked about the biggest two that were floating around. The first one was that they didn't want us to have our full hour of lunch that day. And the second one, which was the most popular, is that this kid died and came back to life by this weird disease, which I didn't believe. My friends' names are Ryan, Matt, Thomas, and Chris. But Chris and I have been friends since the first grade. The other friends I became friends with during the 8th grade, and our friendship became even stronger during the summer over Xbox. I went to bed at 12 a.m. that night, after talking with my friends and playing our games, but when I woke up, I got up staggered because my smoke alarm was going off, and the only thing I could see was the bright light coming from my window and between the blinds. I fly out the door, and I try to turn on the lights, but they won't turn on, so I say, "What? The hell with it," and try to run down the stairs. It's pitch black, and I couldn't even see my own feet while running. Then I get to my first floor after almost falling down the stairs. I see my dog named Peanut sitting under one of the dinner table's chairs, and I didn't see anyone else, so I grabbed Peanut, and then I heard something screaming, and I smelled something that smelled like burning flesh and hair. I started hearing scratching at my metal front door, just another staircase down. I thought it was someone burning from the fire, so I opened up the door after I put my dog on the floor and with his dog leash on, so he doesn't go anywhere. I opened the door, and it came flying out at me and tried to grab me, so I jumped back and kicked it out the door again. Then I picked up my dog so I could run. I ran out the door and looked of what was on fire. My apartment complex was, and a group of people just walking towards my direction that were on, quote-unquote, fire! And I saw a guy on top of his pickup truck crying with a little girl in his hands. So I copied his idea and got on top of my car, which wasn't a pickup truck, it was a Mazda, which was much shorter than the pickup. I was kicking whatever that tried to grab my feet when I was on top of my Mazda. Then I realized that the guy that was across the street's little girl was dead. I thought he was crying because he lost someone in the fire. I was thinking of what these could be. Then I realized they're, THERE, quote-unquote, zombies. And the little girl lost too much blood because of a bite, which looked like it was on her neck and her leg. I started to think how I can get out of the situation, and then I heard a sobbing, "No." Then a really low... then a really loud scream coming from across the street. I looked, and the little girl turned, then bit him. I was shocked of what I saw because something so little was really fast and powerful. I got over what happened just 20 minutes ago and started to think of a way out. I came up with a plan that made me jump over the zombies to a branch on a nearby tree. Then I had to get a stick sturdy enough and long enough to kill a zombie. I tried out my plan and it failed. I jumped to the branch and I underjumped it, which made me land on my stomach on a root, and it hurt a lot. I left the dog in the car by breaking the sunroof because I realized they were attracted to Peanut as well. Then I came up with my plan, which failed, but I was still alive, so my plan acted as a fail shoot. I had to kill 1 or 2 zombies that noticed what I did. So I finished them off one by kicking down to the gowned, G-O-W-N-E-D, and bashing its head in with my foot. The other one I killed with a wrench I found in the back of a truck. After that I got a flathead screwdriver and started picking the zombies off that were trying to get my dog. After killing about 5 zombies with the screwdriver I found, I had to go back inside for the keys, but when I went back I found my brother. He was a burnt zombie struck under a flaming hot support beam trying to get up and eat me. So I left him be and got the keys that were on the kitchen counter. I tried to pick up the keys and they were hot, and I played hot potato going down the stars with the car keys. I got to the Mazda and started to think where to go first because turning on the car so I don't waste gas. I figured I should go to a gas station or a store of some kind because this thing that is turning people into zombies took over society like a storm, and maybe only the lucky ones that were lucky tonight will be there. So less people to fight over for something. I went to the Walmart that was closest to my house and saw that it had no people in the parking lot except for gates and tents, T-I-N-T-S, that looked like it was set up during when it happened for people that needed medical help, but it got overrun. Nothing like camping out in a Walmart during a zombie apocalypse that you apparently just woke up in. Nobody was there, so I parked the car and I brought my dog. I got inside by breaking the front door, and most of everything was gone, plus there was a ton of dead bodies burnt in a pile in the center of the store. There was a giant hole, W-H-O-L-E, in the ceiling, C-E-L-L-I-N-G, and it looked like they bombed the place before they left to stop the zombies. I found a travel bag and a flashlight, 2 words, but when I looked at the gun store and right before I walked out the door, I saw somebody in my car trying to start it, like hot wiring it. I immediately got something so I could hit whoever's trying to steal my car. I silently walked up to my car, and I opened the door really fast and started beating whoever's in my car. The guy started saying I'm his dad and repeated it 2 more times as I stopped. I looked, and it was my dad. So I stopped and helped him out of the car. My dad is named Eric, and then we got in the car and started thinking about what should we do next. I asked my dad how he got over here because when I was going to Walmart, I saw the dead thousands of cars on the highway that was trying to get out of the city. My dad said, I was on the highway on my way to work, and I decided to drop by a place here to get some food, but then it happened. I asked, well then, how did you survive? My dad said, I crawled on top of a building and stayed up there for 2 hours until I saw only 2 zombies. Well, how about you? I replied saying, long story about being confused and getting out of my house that was on fire. And the time of our discussion, we drove to a place where we can sleep till morning. We stopped by my house to see the damage, and the entire apartment complex was destroyed because of the fire. So we took off and went to elementary school that was just down the road to see if we can spend the night there. We got there and no one was there in the parking lot, so we drove the car up the curb and into the garden area that is surrounded by 3 walls and filled with shrubs that we can cover the car with. We parked the car next to a wall with a window on the wall next to the car so we can keep OR eyes on OR car in case of someone walks by. We open the doors that lead into the building from the garden area, and it's pitch black and we can't see anything, so I take out my flashlight, still 2 words. Right when I turn on my flashlight, still 2 words, we see a little girl just standing there staring at the opposite direction at a wall. Eric says, little girl, are you okay? And starts walking towards it. I grabbed my dad's shoulder to stop him and said, I don't think that a little girl anymore. I grabbed my dad's shoulder to stop him and said, I don't think that a little girl. I grabbed my dad's shoulder to stop him and said, I don't think that a little girl anymore. Then I accidentally squeaked my shoes on the floor and it turned around. I started walking back slowly and my dad did the same thing. It sprinted towards Hughes, so I grabbed my flashlight in a manner to swing it and then slam! in quotation marks. It hit it right on the head and it fell on the floor, but then tried to get back up. Before it got back up, my dad stomped its face in to make it stop. I went back outside to get my dog Peanut and came back inside to find the room's windows we parked our car next to. I found the room, and the only thing that was in there was school supplies, pictures, and desks for the 20 children that were in the class. My dad and I took all the desks and pilled them, P-I-L-L-E-D, pilled them up in the corner where the door was. We sharpened about 5 metal rulers that were in the room, so we can use them as a handheld spike to protect ourselves. We slept for the last few hours of night to gain OR strength for the next day. We got up at midday and took down the pile of desks on the door. I walked out with my spike drawn and with my flashlight out pointing down the dark hallway. My dad said it isn't worth searching for anything, so I followed him in the other direction. We walk out of the closes exit to go search for anybody we know. The only thing I saw was a giant group of zombies on the blacktop in the playground of the elementary school. When I walked out after my dad, I didn't see it first, so the door behind me slammed shut. The noise from the door called all the zombies over to us, so we ran to the garden area entrance, but we thought the zombies would swarm us when we were in a car. I told him that we could get on top of the school and go across the top of the school. My dad and I got to the side of the school with a small brick wall that you can get on top of. I helped my dad get on top, then I hop up right when the zombies got to me. The other side of the brick wall had a really big drop, so if you fall to your death. One with zombies, and another with a giant fall. We get to the top of the school, then started to run to the other side, so we lose them. We jumped down and ran to OR car, then drove off to go where my dad lives, which is in the countryside of Virginia. I said to my dad, "That was close." Then he responded, Then he responded, "Yes, that was close. I almost twisted my ankle jumping off the top of the school." I pulled over into a gas station hoping to get some more gas and food. I get out and walk inside to find anything, and my dad searched the dead cars around the gas station for gas. I walked inside, and the only thing I could smell is iron, like a hot metal smell. I turn on my light and start walking around. I see that there is still soda in the fridges, so I take a couple. One soda was in the far back, so I reached for it, not realizing that there was a zombie in the back supply room, and it grabbed me. I freaked out, trying to pull my arm. One soda was in the far back, so I reached for it, not realizing that there was a zombie in the back supply room, and it grabbed me. I freaked out, trying to pull my arm back, in parentheses and quotation marks. Ah! My arm! Let go of it! I got my arm back. I went to the fridge supply door and opened it, with one of my ruler spikes drawn in my flashlight. I got in, and I saw a frozen zombie that could barely move. I stabbed it in the head. I saw even more things back there that we could eat and drink, like more soda, water, and cheap frozen foods. Most of the stuff was starting to get all nasty because of no power, but since it's a fridge and it's insulated, it stayed cold until I got there. I walked out of the fridge and saw there was a blood river coming from behind the front counter. I peeked around the front counter and saw a zombie munching on the store clerk. I walked up behind it and stabbed it in the head. I walked out and saw my dad searching a car, and he started laughing, saying, "I found a gun. Yes." I asked, "How much ammunition is there?" My dad gave me the ammunition for what looks like a shotgun of some kind. My dad showed me the gun, and it was a shotgun. It was a Remington 870, and it came with 10 shells. I got back in the car and refilled it with the gas my dad took out of other gas tanks with a rubber tube. I made sure Peanut was okay when we got in the car, because I didn't check him after that big escape at the school. I made sure there were no bites and no broken bones because of that last jump off the elementary school was really rough. RUFF. My dad drove the rest of the way towards his house.